Good morning, students. Standard 9th History India's Internal Challenges. We are going with the second lecture. In the previous one, we saw that there was unrest in Punjab and there were two groups that had taken shelter in the Golden Temple. Both the groups fighting against each other but had one similar motive. The group that was led by Bhindran Singh, General Singh Bhindranwale, was an active group which was also aggressive. To evict them from the temple, Operation Blue Star started, and because of this, the terrorists who took shelter in the Golden Temple got evacuated. Keep it in mind, what is an operation? Any action taken by the military to complete that action or movement is known as operation. So, first Operation Blue Star and then Operation Black Thunder. Both were to suppress the militancy or terrorism in Punjab. After that, we also saw that there were many northeastern states who did not want to be the part of India as they are today and demanded more autonomy. Struggling further, slowly, these areas, that is the northeast frontier area, means started coming together with the Indian government, and step by step, since Nagaland, the first state to be the part of Indian Union, followed by Mizoram, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, and then all these up to Sikkim become the member states of India, that is today's Union of States. But while doing so, there were many problems that India faced, and slowly India overcome all these problems. Keep it in mind, these were the political problems. Though they affected the economy, though they affected the society, though they affected the nation at an economic as well as foreign policy. At a glance, if we try to understand, they all were internal problems. But now, we will try to understand that there are certain problems. Definitely, they too are internal problems only. But when we speak about Naxalism, communalism, regionalism, they are not one and the same as these problems. The upper problem, that is the Punjab or the Northeast, at the most were the political problems. The political setup that disturbed the mindsets of the youth or the youths as they demanded more autonomy for their own states, more reserve seats for employment, and more economic power. So, in the name of development, they started struggling. At the same time, the political motive was to capture the power and rule it. Now, that is the motive which we will have to understand communalism, which we also have to understand regionalism, and that is the base of Naxalism. To begin with today, Naxalism first. In 1967, West Bengal, district Darjeeling, there is a small place or a village called Naxalbari. Keep it in mind. In West Bengal, Darjeeling district, there is a small village named Naxalbari. People of Adivasi community, we call them Banwasi, comes together, form a small union or a group, and demands that the forests are the sole properties of these peoples as they are the residents of the forest since long period. Because of this, these peoples coming together claims that the catchment of the forest they cleared for agriculture was their own. So they are the masters of the forest. Now, this created an administrative problem. So naturally, the officers in charge of this Darjeeling district shifted towards Naxalbari to control either the people or to suppress the problem. But while doing so, skirmishes or conflicts started arising, and slowly the officers of the government started coming there to tackle the problem or to suppress the problem were attacked by the Adivasis. Now, from here we have to understand that how is it possible? This is possible because a fraction of group of the politicians, a group of politicians started supporting such activities. These activities are themselves against the constitutional rights of the India. But yet, they started supporting the people here. And now the people who were having the patch of land, small or bigger one, they started having one identity, and that was red color flag. This was an identity. Now, what happened on the patchment of the land? If this is the land that is the forest land cleared for agriculture, the person who is the owner of this land now, or the Adivasi who has claimed that this land belongs to him, used to give his identity as a flag of red color, also known as Lal Bauta. In Marathi, Hindi, it is known as Lal Bauta. That is the identity. Now, this red color flag indicates that they are ready to support each other or to fight back the government. And people or the group of people who were having the similar identities from Naxalbari, we are speaking only about Naxalbari now, started coming together, showing their strength. And there comes a time when the movement or the ideology started spreading more than one district, that is of Darjeeling. So it started spreading outside Darjeeling, slowly outside Bengal. India has a long catchment area of forest in central India, West Bengal, Bihar. Then if we move towards Orissa, today's Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, then Maharashtra, Karnataka, also Andhra Pradesh, then Tamil Nadu, and some parts of even Kerala. The areas, many of the districts of these areas are supporting the ideology of the Naxalbari. Naxalbari is the name of the village, and the people having the similar ideology of Naxalbari are today called as Naxalism. Ism means an ideology. So Naxalbari's ideology is today termed as Naxalism. And after spreading on such a long area, that is more than near about 18 states of India, near about 18 states more or less, these states together are now posing a threat to Indian government itself. It's a challenge for Indian government to maintain law and order in the forest areas. These are the peoples who on a large scale supported the landless people. But slowly, as they gain momentum, as they gain strength, as their movement rather spread in the central parts of India or parts of India in other states also, the motive started to drift. With the passing of the time, the work that was only up to gaining the land from the forest as an agricultural land now started to gain more and more land, but for economic benefit, for political benefit. And these people started struggling or fighting back with the Indian government. Slowly, as the time moved on, a new means People's Liberation Guerrilla Army. People's Liberation Guerrilla Army was established, which had all the states that supports Naxalism. The idea of Naxalbari, supported by each and every individual, comes together from all the states, and at the national level, they have, or today, they have set up their organization in the name of PLGA. But it's a guerrilla activity, guerrilla army, and sudden attack in Maharashtra, particularly Chandrapur, Gadchiroli, some areas of Tumsar and that areas are the areas which are having these Naxalites. These are the Adivasi peoples who do not support the Indian constitution, or rather they are being misleaded by their leaders, and just to gain profit from the agricultural land, which is otherwise the land of the forest area under the control of the government of India. They snatch it and starts working on it. But today, Naxalism is not the same as we are speaking from Naxalbari. In the beginning, it was only restricted to gain land for agriculture. Today, it is for political benefit, economic benefit, and rather disturbing the peace and order in India. At the same time, on large scale, Indian political parties also directly or indirectly supports Naxalism, and that is the biggest threat. This is actually the hurdle to combat Naxalism. But at the end, Indians are suffering. Indian police is suffering because in the fight backs, either the Naxalites who are rather than the citizens of India or the police who are the protectors of the common people have to sacrifice their life. So in this way, the struggle is going on and it is still today going on. We will move towards communalism. Communalism is something which is present all over India in one or the other way. But we can see it also in other parts of the world also. Actually, it's a conflict between majority and minority. Conflict between majority and minority, and that is the main source of communalism. As India has a representative form of democracy, people have to choose the representative either to Lok Sabha or Vidhan Sabha. So, at the same time, the people of majority try their best to overtake the minorities. And after winning the elections, they assume that they are the most strength. That is the real strength. Now they can do whatever they weave in their mind. This is not actually the communalism is rather apart from political system seen in other areas also. Actually, the base of conflict between communalism of majority and minority is fanaticism. Kattartavad jala म्हणतात. He person who says that he belonging to one religion is the supreme religion. His religion is the best, whether they are in majority or minority, or even the pride they have for their own religion. That creates problem in the establishment of constitution. Actually, what happens? People comes from other states to our states, and because of this COVID-19 impact, we can easily understand what or how communalism increases. Communalism has its base in the development and underdevelopment of the two regions. There are two regions, either developed or underdeveloped. Underdeveloped means which is till today in the stage of developing. For example, on large, we see that Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Orissa, and Madhya Pradesh, to certain extent Madhya Pradesh, are the states from where people, working class people, migrate towards Maharashtra, Gujarat, and some parts of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Because we are in this zone, they also move towards Delhi, Haryana, Punjab. So, what happens when these people come together and settle down in a specific area? Slowly, the next generation, as the time moves on, the next generation starts living their own life. Now they are being cut off from their own land. After cutting off from their mainland, all the religious activities, for example, if because we are in Maharashtra, we can speak in terms of Ganesh Utsav, we can speak in terms of Shiv Jayanti, we can understand how Krishna Janmashtami is being celebrated in the name of Dahi Handi. Now, these groups, whether they are majority or minority, they establish their own unions, their own groups, and start celebrating their festivals. Now, this is the religious motive. But many times it happens that in doing so, they try their best to show off. And show off is the cause of conflict. Many times it becomes the cause of conflict. As far as Akola is concerned, we know that Akola always faces the challenges of when it comes to the celebration of Ganesh Utsav. The last day, of Ganesh Utsav, which Akola enjoys it on a large scale because of the majority of the people coming together. And as the ceremony moves forward, there are chances of conflict. After that, Ram Janmabhoomi. Now, this is during the Ram Navami or Ram Janma Utsav, a huge procession takes place. Show off is there of majority amongst the minority. So is also the minority in the name of, may it be Muslims, Buddhism, Jains or Sikh. We see them in smaller or bigger context, but they also try their best to show how they are united, how they are strong enough, how they are working in an economic prosperity. And because of this, many times two groups comes in confrontation. In India, we are having this experience since British rule. It is said that the seeds of this communalism was sown by the British. And because the Britishers moved out of India, yet till today, the struggle is on. On the most, we speak about Hindus versus Muslim. But it is not only Hindu versus Muslim. It is in many other contexts that people coming from Bihar, people coming from Rajasthan, people coming from other areas, when they come and settle down in one or the other areas, they, if they are with the majority, enjoy the festivals. If they are with the minorities, it assumes for them that they are having something which rather, in other words, is not the base of it. But at the same time, we have to understand that in communalism, two religious fractions combat with each other. But here, political motive is one of the biggest assets behind it. To gain political power, to show the political supremacy, or to put pressure on the majority, minorities comes together to show their strength. This is all over the world. But complications are more when it comes to India. And we know that India is a vast land with having various religions. And among the religions there are ethnic groups which, in other words, do not come together to share or to enjoy. And because of that, the confrontation or the clashes among them starts going on. Because of this, it becomes the hurdle in the name of development. When it comes to the development, we can have regionalism as also the example of it. In regionalism, we have to understand that what exactly is that. Now, when it comes to Naxalbari or Naxalism, we have to understand that it is an ideology. And in the beginning, it was something which could have been supported by all political parties or even the individuals. But slowly, it gained momentum, the movement expanded, and the leaders now, instead of working only for the landless laborers, became the sole masters, zamindars. And because of this, the motive of Naxalism now is in a frustration mode and becomes a part of other sense, just accumulation of the wealth. In communalism, two groups fighting against each other. They are the religious group. They are the religious group. And even among the religions, there are factions which do not unite. And then they makes a situation more worse. Now, this is something the government or the nation have to suffer a setback. But at the same time, when we speak about regionalism, now regional word, region itself is a word which tells us that how exactly it is. When we speak about communalism, a community fighting against majority and minority, here region. Region also is one of the same fraction that may convert problems, create problems for the nation. Peace and harmony is a backbone of development anywhere in the world. Peace and harmony is the backbone of development anywhere in the world. But when it comes in the name of regionalism, we have to understand that the regional imbalance in a region is the main motive of it. Now, here it is not only at the national level. When we speak about this, that people coming from Bihar, people coming from Uttar Pradesh, people coming from Madhya Pradesh or Orissa to Maharashtra, and then slowly confronting with each other or the people of Maharashtra. The clashes goes on, and we have studied or we know that the birth of many of the political parties have that same ideology. For example, Shiv Sena, for example, today's Vanchit Bhujan Agadi, or even Bhujan Samaj Party, the groups that are being otherwise kept apart from the mainland or kept apart from the main motive of the national ideology, identity, comes together to show their strength. But in regionalism, this is the region. As far as Maharashtra is concerned, Maharashtra is a small state, one state, of though it's a big in population as well as area, but as far as India is concerned, it's just a one state. Even in Maharashtra, we see that Western Maharashtra, Mumbai, Northern Maharashtra, Marathwada, Vidarbha, Konkan are the areas which definitely are much more developed as compared to that of the rest of the nation. But when it comes to Maharashtra, we see that Vidarbha, Marathwada and Konkan are set apart, backward areas compared to Western Maharashtra, Northern Maharashtra and Mumbai. Mumbai is far ahead. Mumbai, Thane, Palghar. Even these areas have Adivasis. Even these areas have backward community people which are not in the mainstreams of the land. And yet, because of the headquarters and having international connectivity in economic terms, Mumbai's prosperity, everyone knows. Now, being a part of Mumbai, there comes a pride in a person saying that, show off that he belongs to Mumbai. When he tells that he belongs to Mumbai, there is no need where Mumbai is today. But when we are from Akola and move somewhere outside the state, we have to identify ourselves that we belong to Vidarbha region where Nagpur is the capital of Vidarbha. So we try to show that Akola is near Nagpur or Akola is in Maharashtra, of which Mumbai is the capital. But when it comes to the local level, when it comes to the ground level, Mumbai and Akola, that is Vidarbha, are totally apart each other. And here also, though a person of a Hindu community, for example, or though a person of a Hindu community, he is a Hindu, or we can go with the minorities as a Muslim, he is a Muslim and belongs to Akola. He is a Muslim, belongs to Akola, but speaks Gujarati, that means he is from Gujarat, moved to Akola, now he speaks Gujarati. Now this person can be a member of Gujarati community in a literary sense, in language. He can be a person who supports Gujarati ideology in terms of Gujarat. At the same time, being a resident of Akola, he also joins the organization which are from Akola. And at the same time, he also belongs to the Muslim identity. So he supports the Muslims also. Now here at one and the same time, how the conflict can be in the name of regionalism. Being a person from Gujarat, coming to Akola, settling down here for his bread and butter, but having sense of pride or having emotional attachment with Gujarat, the regional conflict begins. At the same time, being a person in Akola, a Muslim, and supporting a Muslim club or joining a Muslim club can have confrontation with Hindu society. So, communalism. Now, a same person, example of two different ways, can be a part of communalism, can be a part of regionalism. Now, being at the same time a person, Gujarati person speaking Gujarati, living in Akola and joining Akola's political party. Maybe we can say that now he is a part of Shiv Sena. Now, a Muslim in a Shiv Sena can be an example of it. Now, being a part of Shiv Sena, and we know that Shiv Sena struggles for Hinduism or in the name of Hinduism, now coming to power, the religion or the religious background is not the motto. So, at the state level, at the national level, Shiv Sena is losing its identity, but the person do not. The person who is in Akola as a Muslim born from Gujarati speaking and residing in Vidarbha feels proud about Akola or Vidarbha can come in confrontation with the rest of Maharashtra. Now the Vidarbhians, as we call them, always feel that there is a guilty feeling among these people that Vidarbha is not being developed as Western Maharashtra. Western Maharashtra also has the agricultural land. We in Vidarbha also have the agricultural land. But the development in terms of the local development as we are speaking, even the taluka places in Pune, Solapur, Sangli, Satara are well developed as compared to that in Vidarbha or as compared to that in Akola, Amravati, Yavatmal, Buldhana, Washing, Warhad also as we call it. Now, this when a developed person comes here, he may say that what development is here. Or when we go there, we can say that being a part of Maharashtra, this is so developed. Why we not? And then a group of people coming together, putting pressure on political assets to develop their areas makes the beginning of regionalism. Then there comes a call. We need Vidarbha apart from Maharashtra. There comes a part that Punjab should be part of Khalistan. There are various motives. Even Naxalism is in the same region. That they think that nation do not support them. Majority of the people or the majority of the political people do not support their development, economic development. Sense of economic development is the basic of regional imbalance. We can understand that the annual income of the Mumbaikars, Western Maharashtra, and that of Vidarbha differs considerably. This is very hard to understand right here in 9th standard. But when we try to understand, we can gain an ideology that the areas in all the three areas, may it be Mumbai, may it be part of Pune, or may it be Akola. When we study it, we come to know that there is an imbalance in economical sense. The 1 acre land of Mumbai, 1 acre land in Pune, and the same in Akola district. Cost differs. Even the people who pay for it are ready at 3 places, but the richness that we see in Mumbai or comparative to Akola in Pune is very different, and that becomes the essence of struggle for all the people. Now, because of this, if we try to understand all these things, we can easily understand how the regionalism makes imbalance or the political parties are responsible for imbalance. Because of COVID-19, we have this news in the national network that many people who were residing in other states started moving to their own states, home, returning to their home back. But while doing so, when there was a lockdown, these people started moving as a pedestrians, paidal. And because of this, we come to know that they were poor. Because they were poor, people all over the world started moving to their own homelands, to their own homes, home places. But when we study about the workers, regionalism, we have to understand that these are not the rich people, these are poor people who move from one place to another in finding their bread and butter, to have shelter. And when it is not confirmed to them, they again try to move back. Going back created havoc. Going back created a sense of insecurity among these people. Now these people are the Indian citizens. They have all the rights of India, and yet they were debarred from all the rights they were having as an Indian citizen. Though they were in India, they were not feeling secure. That is the essence of regionalism. That is what we have to understand in the name of communalism. These people, because they were feeling not secure, they started moving to their homeland. Those people were too lucky enough who got railways or other vehicles to move back. But when it comes to the poorest person, they were the people who started moving, took on the challenge and started moving as a pedestrian. And because of this, many stories were born. But keep it in mind, economy is at the back. Economic differences. Now the question arises, if they are from Bihar, if they are from Uttar Pradesh, if they are from Madhya Pradesh, if they are from West Bengal or Odisha, coming to Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, why their own areas were not developed? Now, answers to these questions may differ. There can be a vast debate. We do not have to understand it. But imbalance in the development, economical prosperity is at the base of regionalism. The people who are in Maharashtra, because we are studying of Maharashtra, the people who are in Maharashtra feels proud that yes, I am the native of Maharashtra. And because of this, the people who were moving back somewhat have that guilt that though they were here in Maharashtra for the prosperity of Maharashtra, yet in the time of difficulties were not given shelter, were not being provided assistance as it would have been. But insecurity is the base here, and that is why they started moving back. We study about India, we study about Indian citizenship, we study about Indian constitution, we study about the rights given by Indian constitution to individual, and yet there are problems. Problems are created because of one, Naxalism, communalism, that is the fight against religious motive, and then regionalism. This is what we have to overcome, and this is going on since ages. This is going till today. Naxalism, though born from 1967, yet till today is a part of Indian political scenario which creates a scene that there are certain people who are not ready to accept Indian constitution. Communalism is always the struggle between majority and minority. May it be in the name of religious festivals, may it be in the name of political supremacy, or even some other ways. Regionalism also. But in regionalism, economic backbone is at the base. Economic prosperity is at the base. Now, because of this economic prosperity, the people who are poor enough do not get their due share as they are also the citizens of India. And then struggle starts. This struggle always hampers, may it be in the name of religion, communalism, Naxalism, or any ism. Ism means ideology. It always obstructs the developmental path of India. Hope you understood this very well. Thank you.